Last year, when I left my former career as a career coach and I started to build an agency, all of my creative efforts, all my creative energy, kind of everything I was doing went towards clients, went towards how do I build this thing? And there wasn't a ton left over to create my own content, to create my own videos. And I've been creating videos for over 20 years. So there was this big piece of my heart just missing, not creating videos, not being in the production process, not collaborating with people, not feeling like I was putting everything out that I was doing. And there was this really big growth period that I had last year, which was moving to Medellin, having a breakup, moving to Medellin, becoming part of these other in-person communities, starting a new business, and just having my life take this crazy turn that I would have never expected. And yeah, it was pretty cool. So all that happened, and then I'm sitting here like, man, I've been documenting it in my journal. I've been documenting it, some in my Instagram and some other places in shorter forms. But I was thinking in my mind, like, how do I get this out to the world? How do I talk about the lessons that I've actually learned from this? How do I look back on this as a time of growth in my life 10 years from now and say, what was I thinking? What was I doing? How did that happen? And then even beyond that, it's the legacy of, if I have children, how can my children know their father from this stage of his life and know what he was up to? And to me, that's pretty cool. And that's part of the creative process for me is thinking forward in those ways, not being attached to them, but thinking like, what is it that I'd want to look back on? And I look back on my videos from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago now, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. I was doing something really cool at that point in my life, and I was even further ahead than I thought I was in some ways. And so it's, I don't know if you've ever heard of the principle of the gap and the gain. There's this principle of the gap and the gain where essentially there are a couple different ways that we can look at progress in our lives and achievement. And one of them is the gap. We can look at the gap between where we're at now and this horizon line of the goals, of the things that we want to accomplish. The problem is that horizon line never ends. The horizon just keeps going. You can walk towards the horizon, you can walk towards the goal forever because goals constantly change and what we strive for changes. But if you look at the gain, that's when you look backwards and you say, let me see how far I've come. Let me see what happened 2 years ago and what I was writing in my journal then versus what I'm writing now. And that's where there's this really incredible self-reflection of achievement that can be much more prosperous. Because if you're constantly looking forward to the changing horizon line of outcome-oriented goals, and it just keeps getting further away, it can be discouraging. But if you're looking at, oh, look how far I've come, and you're appreciating in the moment how far you've come, it just becomes a much better way to look at life.